Hello, sir. How are you?
Hello, man. I'm all good, thank you. What about you?
I'm very well, always very well, always very well. A very well dressed man in front of me.
Okay, thanks. I try to keep it up.
No problem, no problem. So tell me a little bit about yourself, sir.
I'm based in Italy. I'm like an hour from Venice.
Oh, okay,
So
nice.
being Italian, I try to make it a sort of way of living, being well
Yeah,
dressed.
yeah, yeah. The Italian tailored suits and everything else.
Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah. I got it.
yeah.
Very well dressed. Absolutely. So how old are you, sir?
I'm 22. 22.
Okay, cool. And what was your name? Sorry.
Oh, Angelo. Angelo. Nice to meet you.
Angelo. Okay, cool. And you, sir. So tell me a little bit more about yourself. So you joined the real world
Yeah, I
when
joined
you
the real
were.
world in January 2023. I was about to turn 19 at the time. And
Mhm.
of course, I joined after a little bit of procrastinating. In 2022, I was bombarded with, the TikToks from the Tate brothers and the
Mhm.
entire brand. And that already sort of reset my mindset
Mhm.
because, hitting the gym, trying to see the world in other frames,
Mhm.
trying to see why am I doing this? Is this bringing me to any sort of new level in life? Is it giving me some benefits? And it all, let's say, finished in December 2022 when I actually subscribed to an actual gym, not just home workouts that I made up after watching YouTube. And I quit jerking off. And I'm still clear on that side. Just to clarify, wasn't easy, still not easy, but I'm still in the game. And then it all get started actually when I generally joined the real world. And from there,
Mhm.
it's been some crazy 3 years, I want to say,
Amazing.
because they've been crazy.
So, what campus did you join when you first joined the real world?
I joined the copywriting campus.
Mhm.
And I also want to say that, as I think a lot of people, especially young like me, that I was at the time, I always had the silver bullet syndrome. I try different campuses, the affiliate marketing, the e-commerce, but I just went back to copywriting because not just because of the work that I could do, but because I found in Professor Andrew like a sort of spiritual guide because it doesn't teach you business, strategic marketing, as he likes to call it,
Mhm.
but he did and he still does an amazing job in reframing your mental model as a whole. Because
Mm.
I don't know if I can share this part. He was in the National Guard, and this, of course, had him a sort of different perspective on
Mm.
how to build body and mind. And I always love the challenges that he put out in the campus, like
Mm.
the the Agoge challenge, like in the Sparta, all days in Sparta.
Mhm.
And since the day one in that copywriting campus, I didn't see any improvement just in one side, which would be money, but also in mind and of course body as well.
And body, yeah. I always have this theory that um, body builds the mind.
Yeah,
Because if you build
yeah,
your body, you set yourself standards and you set yourself goals
yeah,
within the
yeah,
gym, and it builds you discipline. And
yeah,
that within
yeah,
itself can build your mind. And then if you carry that throughout your life, then everything will be the same. You say to yourself, I'm going to go to gym every single day. It's like getting up and I'm going to go to work every single day. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
I've got to do this, 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 and this, and this. I go into the gym, I've got to go and do this, this, and this. This is back there. This is chest day. I want to do that, that, and that. Bang. And then get them out exactly the same way in which you live your life. You've got
yeah,
work to do,
yeah.
you've got goals to achieve. So, you've got to go on with those. So you joined the copyright campus hopped for a little bit. and then came back to the copywriting campus. Did
Yeah.
you make any money while you were
Oh,
campus hopping?
yeah. Yeah. Uh, as a whole, I made a little over $9,000 in the copywriting campus throughout this time. And there's a lot of experiences and lessons that I could share around it. But
Hmm.
uh, I want to share the last one, which I think is the main one that I learned. Because back in finish of 2024, I got huge upfront fees from three clients, and with all set up and the commission, I would be able to make like 5 to 10K a month just from them,
Mm,
just off commission. But I
mm,
realized too late that I skipped some part of the process, maybe because I was a bit too arrogant about it, and the client didn't turn out to be that good. So I went on a quite long streak of no money, and I super wanted to quit a lot of times.
mm.
But I super did. I super did. Because I was waking up at 5 a.m., working, going to 9 to 5, coming back home to work. And of course, especially my mother was telling me, why do you keep waking up this soon to
Yeah,
work,
yeah,
go to nine
yeah.
to five? You're getting nowhere. Can't you see it?
Mm,
But
mm.
I ignored the noise, buckle down, and move forward. Which was the best thing that I could do, to be honest, because I was able to crack the wall open, and see the sunlight at the end of the tunnel because the
Yeah,
path is still long.
yeah.
But all what I mainly learned in that phase was that if you don't have a team, a network, not gonna survive.
You're not gonna survive. Yeah.
And
So have
yeah,
so I was gonna ask, have you built your team and your network through the real world, or is that through
yeah,
the
absolutely.
friends that you already currently have?
From the real world. In the copywriting campus, I
Mm,
have a strong relationship with two other Gs, one from Greece and one from Poland. And we also
hmm
met in Poland last year because it's probably one of the best countries in the world right now.
hmm hmm
And we are also planning a new trip to Albania this summer.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting. Never been there before. But yeah, I'd like to go and see it. I'm not like you hear good things, you hear bad things, but you hear it's a beautiful country. So that's the
yeah,
beautiful part that
yeah,
I want to go and see. So so you've made roughly around 9K. So what you're on
yeah.
a monthly retainer of around
Well, the biggest month I had was $2,275 that month,
Mhm.
which was much more than I was making from my 9 to 5. So I bet that you can imagine the level of dopamine that I had in that moment.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because I mean,
I was gonna say, how did you feel? How did you feel when you started making that?
amazing. I mean, I don't think that there are some exact words to describe that. Because I was
Mhm,
making more than people that have working at my 9 to 5 for 40 years. I was making
mm,
more than them,
mm,
you know, through something that people like in my family never believe me somewhere, you know.
mm.
But yeah, I mean, and I also told them I made this, and they were like, "No, what the fuck? Are you serious?" And they already started to change their perspective around what I was doing, which
Mm,
was probably one of the biggest achievement I
mm.
could achieve. Because if you also have your family on your side, you're just gonna fucking crush it. You
100.
know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I totally agree. Did you obviously you felt fantastic when you made your first paycheck, but
Yeah,
did you treat yourself to anything? Did you
yeah, yeah,
what
yeah.
you said that with a big yes. You said that with an absolute massive yes. Was that a new suit? What did you get?
Well, I watched some of your videos, so I brought it up that with the first 500 that I made in a month, I bought these sunglasses from Ray-Ban,
Okay,
which
nice.
and the biggest reward, which when I made those 2,000 grand, was the MacBook M2. that I'm using right now for this video call.
Yeah.
And then the last one was a trip to Barcelona last year
Oh,
for
nice.
my birthday. For my birthday, amazing
Nice.
experience with my best friend, which is like my brother, non-blood related brother.
Yeah.
So amazing experience, amazing experience.
Nice. So you're a glasses man like me, because I'm a glasses man. You might see me wearing like tinted, shaded glasses. These ones are
Yeah.
actually real. Every one of my glasses are real. I'm a bit of a glasses man. I've got one, two. I've got four with me now. I always
Okay.
carry a few pairs around with me, but they all have to get I have to get prescription lenses put in them because I'm a bit blind. Which the
Well, yeah,
guys tell
I
me,
understand
yeah,
you.
the guys tell me about on a constant basis. So, yeah. So, so what would you say? I mean, since you're in the real world, since like you said you were procrastinating beforehand. Let me go back a little bit. So you said you were
Yeah.
procrastinating beforehand. What actually made you flip that and decide that right now I'm gonna go? And what was the procrastination over? What was you?
Well, I was still in school when the
Okay.
first HU came out, and then
Mm,
the new real world. And I didn't really have any money, even if during the summer I always worked either on the fields or as a carpenter,
mm-hmm,
because I always try to have some money so I could buy what I want and do what I want, not just rely on my family. I think that
mm-hmm,
sooner or later, every at least man tries to do that, or at least I hope so.
mm-hmm,
And so it was mainly a money thing. Then I was able to flip something, as I will also learn then in the Hustlers campus from Professor
mm-hmm.
Dylan. Flip something, made my money, and I just tried it. I mean, it was like, it's $50. I worth it,
Exactly.
just lose $60 at best. We get to do this conversation.
Yeah, yeah.
And because it means that I did something worth speaking about.
Mm.
So I think that he paid off all those furniture that I flipped. So
So the hard work, the hard work. So you're in the campus now. You're in the copywriting campus.
copywriting, yeah.
Is that your own business, and do you have clients related to that? And how did you get your first client? Sorry, there's three questions rolled into one there.
Oh, no, no, no worries. Yeah, I'm still in the copywriting campus. I have my business around strategic marketing. So of
Mm-hmm.
course I have my case studies, which are the easiest, let's say easiest path to get new clients because you're already been proved. And my first client was actually my aunt, because she knew that I was doing something with marketing. Plus, I was also doing studying IT in school. So she
Mm-hmm.
somehow did some math and figured that I could help her manage her social media account from the beauty center that she owns.
Mm-hmm.
So quick 100-month retainer, fresh out of school. I was the happiest man alive. The happiest man
Absolutely.
alive.
Absolutely. Big smiles on your face. And then so
Yeah.
how's that progressed? How's that progressed on up until this point now? So how have you developed getting new clients, and are they still
Well,
on a monthly retainer as well?
yeah. So I test a lot of different outreach methods. Of course, the warm outreach, which would be reaching out to friends or family, either that own a business or that know people who own a business. I went ringing at the businesses, door, basically,
Mhm.
which I got some clients as well on that. And the project didn't go, I mean, it was B2B, first time in B2B. Then they
Yeah.
shifted inside some politics and they just went on their own. Try cold calling, which I believe was the most lucrative method for me, which led me to that 2K a month.
Hmm.
And that opened the path for me from just Italian businesses to businesses in the US. And again,
Ah, interesting.
yeah, I mean, 20 at a time, living in Italy, working with businesses in the US. I mean, I don't think that a lot of people think that it's possible,
Mm.
but I just bought a number from Skype, call businesses every single day, 100 calls a day to get clients, got money from it, commissions, the retainers. And of course, I also tried email marketing, which brought me some clients as well.
Okay, cool. So how many clients do you have now?
Well, right now I have one, which is my main focus. And I'm having conversation with another one, which I stopped the project last year because they were having
Mhm.
some internal problems in a B2B cybersecurity, which with some logic that I made behind it would open my path to different niches within these clients.
Mhm.
So big upside for that. And we have to schedule the call in the next few days or next week.
So do you do like one-off like clients, or do you have monthly retainers?
Well, yeah, it depends on the kind of project. I like to put it that way
Mm.
because I always frame the project as upfront fee plus commission.
Hmm.
And in most cases, I also get a retainer. Let's say that I'm managing Google Ads or doing SEO or email marketing. I get the retainer plus the commission. So I
Mm.
walk away with a fat check, let's say.
Okay, cool. Awesome, awesome. So what's your plan for your business in the next 6 months?
Okay, interesting question. Because as I saw, a lot of stuff can change in 6 months, and
Yes,
I always
very
like
much
to
so.
plan things in a 90 days max time frame.
Okay. I like
So
that. I like
yeah,
that.
I
Yeah.
have more control on the
Yeah.
variables,
I like that.
and I also frame them in a way that I always know. At least I try to know where A or B can lead me. So I
Mm.
have a sort of second route to back that up and don't
Yeah.
fall off of the wagon.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, I would like to scale up my business to 5 to 10K a month consistently so
Mm.
I can also live more freely, we can
Mm.
say,
Mm.
and also have
Yeah.
some rewards tied to that goal as well. I don't want to lie or hide that because
Yeah.
I follow Tristan's rules. Spend 50% of your money as you're gonna live 50 more days, and 50% as you're gonna live 50 more years,
Mm.
which is
Mm.
pretty solid.
Yeah, yeah. Enjoy the fruits of your labor as well as working hard.
Yeah, yeah.
Pretty much exactly the same process. So um what would you say was the defining factor that changed you in how to scale up your business? What kind of changed? What was it you just personally changing, or was there something that kind of clicked with you and just said, I've just gotta I really want to knuckle down and I wanna heads up.
Well, we can see it was a mix of things, and I believe that biggest, let's say, event that happened in my life that prompted me into wanting more
Mm,
was my late grandfather's passing. Because
okay.
I can say that he's my idol. Because my family back in the day when my grandfather was little, they were
Hmm.
super poor, working in the fields. And my grandfather went to France at 17 to make money and then send the money to the family. His
Mm,
brother then learned how to work wood and they became carpenters. I'm just gonna run you quickly through it, or I will
mm, mm,
finish all the time. And they built a business and became one of the richest family in our area. Super respected. The driveway, I always remember my grandfather telling me this, filled with Mercedes, but brand new, and at
mm,
top-notch ones. And then, unfortunately, or fortunately, depends on the point of view, the business failed in 2012. And, my family and my surname kind of lost his power or respect.
yeah, yeah,
A
yeah.
lot of people try to look us with pity. They were once somebody, and once he passed away, and I got to learn more about this story, I wanted to give back to him and my surname the glory it once had. So this
Mm, mm,
reframe my mindset. And I was like, I can't just rely on small retainers for my clients. I have this sitting in my hands right now, this business.
Mm, mm,
How can I scale it up? So I started to also dive in the other campuses of the real world, mainly the business campus, because it's tied to running my business in copywriting. There I
mm,
learned new tactics, of course, also with the resources that Professor Angelo was sharing. And I got a more vivid understanding of what a business means and what being an entrepreneur means.
yeah.
And that also got more, let's say, vivid again last year when I had that bad, let's say, season, because I
Mm,
got to learn that it's not always going to be flowers and sunshine as a business owner.
100%. Yeah.
You're going to have periods where you're going to feel like shit because you're not earning shit, and you just
Mm,
have to fucking show up and keep going, you know.
mm,
So
mm,
I did
mm.
it, and we're here.
That's
And
one of
that's
the
sort
most
of
important.
my life experience in these past years, we can
Yeah,
say.
yeah. I mean, that's one of the most important things because you are going to have your ups and downs. Everybody has their ups and downs, but it's how you get over the downs. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like everybody's good when they're on their ups. Do you know what I mean? But it's how you, when you're down, how do you get yourself back up to that top level again? And it's
yeah,
very important that you have a good, obviously, mindset to actually, okay, cool. Understand what you did wrong is probably one
yeah,
of the first
exactly.
things. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? And then from there, take that, try not to make that mistake again. You may make it again. You may make it in a different way. But at the
yeah,
end of the day,
exactly.
it's all a process. It's a learning curve. It's a process. So it's something that you have to go through. Would you say that that was the hardest part about your journey that so far from joining up until this point?
Yeah, I mean, sorry, you mean the last best
Yeah,
season?
yeah,
Let's call
the
it that
last
way.
year. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, because I came from a huge dopamine spike, you know, making 2 grand a month, and then
Mm,
I found myself at bottom bottom zero. You know, I had the clients, I
mm,
tried every possible way to make the projects work. Then I realized that the problem wasn't within the system that I was trying to use, was either the client being too strict with some of my ideas, or simply
mm,
their business not being good enough. You know,
mm,
and when you are not seeing anything, not seeing any results, as you said, you're gonna ask yourself why, understand that you made a mistake, and
mm.
at a certain point, you're simply gonna think of a shit ton of other alternatives to get back in the game.
Were there any kind of doubts along the way? So you had your rough period, and I know obviously you overcome those, but was there any times at that point where you thought, "Ah, I'm just gonna just throw it all away"?
Yeah,
And what did you do to get out of there?
there were a lot of moments. I have to be honest, a lot of moments. You know, especially when I was hearing my family telling me that I was going nowhere, despite
Mm,
putting in all that work, that effort, which maybe apparently wasn't enough for me to break through at that time.
mm,
But I simply kept going because I made a promise when my grandfather passed. And what
mm.
am I going to do? Just be a bitch and break the
Yeah,
promise?
yeah, yeah.
I mean, it didn't make sense. So I had to find a way to freaking get back in the game, kept pushing, kept pushing. And every month that I wasn't making any sort of progress, apparently, in money wise, I
Mm,
was revising everything. Okay, what did I do? How many times? What could have made wrong? You know. And
mm,
also, I asked feedback to the people I knew inside the real world. As I
mm,
mentioned earlier, if I didn't have that group, which is three of us, but we really push ourselves
mm,
and call ourselves out when it's needed. We talk about everything. I mean, whether it's a relationship, female relationships, God, the
mm,
gym, mindset, business, of course. And if we didn't have ourselves, I'm including the entire group, probably we would still be far beyond in the game.
Mm.
because I understood that the myth of lone wolves, even if it's cool, it doesn't really exist.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it doesn't really exist. And though those people, my friends, also had me overcome the doubts because as we learn inside the copywriting campus, what a man can do, another can do. So if
Correct.
Tim did this, if I put in the effort, I apply the logic, I get feedback
Mm.
and iterate back, I must make it as well.
Mm, mm, mm. Would you say that's, or would you say that has changed you mentally? Would you say
Yeah.
that's given you a little bit more drive, a little bit more passion, a little bit more
Yeah.
hunger?
Yeah. Yeah. Because as you were saying before, that that training your body also train your mind is. I learned
Mm.
that the mind is the first one in your ecosystem that gives up. The first one.
Yeah,
In the gym that
yeah.
you're trying to crank the last rep, the mind is first
Then
one to
that's it. And
say,
it's like,
yeah,
yeah, it's like your body's saying one thing, your mind's saying. If your mind says no, your body's gonna say no. That's what
yeah,
I say. But if your mind says you're going to do it, you will do it. Simple.
yeah, yeah. And the main thing is trying always, as in the gym, to do the progressive overload. One more,
Mm.
1% more, 1% more
Yeah,
every day.
100%, hundred
Yeah,
percent.
100 calls yesterday, 101 calls today. Let's try it. Maybe
Yeah.
nobody will pick up, but it's one more compared to yesterday. The numbers
Mhm.
add up,
Yeah,
and it's a number game, as we all know. Business and
100%.
sales, trying to get clients.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
but yeah,
yeah. Good stuff, good stuff. So you said, just to go over it just one more time, you
yeah,
said that
yeah, absolutely.
you're working to a 30-day 90-day
Yeah, yeah.
schedule.
Usually, yeah. That my goal, my battle plan. Let's call it that way because I call it that way. My battle plan
Nice.
is not split, but has a vision of a 90-day time frame. Let's say
Mm-hmm.
in 90 day, I aim to be at this point, and
Yeah,
then I try to reverse engineer it
yeah.
based on the situation that I'm currently in. And of course, I won't know everything that's going to happen within now and the 90-day mark. So there are some uncertainties that I will have to iterate and go through as I
Mm.
progress, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So the battle plan is never finished, complete, it's always changing. And you have to
Mm.
be good, but putting in the effort to make sure that you are progressing and that
100%.
you're gonna reach that 90-day goal and then you're already on to the next one.
100%. 100%. 100%. Love that mindset. Absolutely love that mindset.
Thank you, man.
And
Thank you.
the beauty of it is that you've come through adversity. You've gone through adversity, and there's two things that I picked up on there. You've come through adversity, and also you want to kind of represent your family name. And
Yeah,
obviously, it's by that doing that, you're making obviously your family proud as well. Like, the doubters are in there. The doubters are in there saying, this, that, the other, blah, blah. But obviously, it's more proving to yourself. For me, it's more proving to yourself and your family that you can actually do it. And now you will, because obviously it's not a burden on your shoulders, but it's a driving force as well. And
yeah,
it's you're also, I mean, you're young, so it's also your kind of mentality that you kind of have to push forward and to face adversity at such a young age,
yeah,
and then to
yeah,
actually just like kind of say, okay, cool, I'm gonna, keep going and I'll keep working hard and I'm gonna make everybody around me, family wise, proud. What do you say to your friends? What do you say to your friends that doubted you along the way, that know you're in the real world? Do you actually tell them to join the real world, and or how do you
yeah.
how do you
Well, I had to make some selection because I
I
had,
like that.
yeah, I had certain friendships that I didn't see as valuable, or maybe that they were doing something that I didn't really like, and I'm not going to
Mm,
get in the details of it. So I had to detach myself, even if I felt, let's say, sad about it because they were my friends.
mm,
And
mm,
of course, I think that the more you grow, the less friends you're gonna have. It's something that
100%.
I'm also seeing right now with my brother who's 19. So, but yeah, my closest friends know that I'm building this my life basically, because that's what
Mm, mm,
it is, you know.
mm.
And I
That's right. Yeah.
remember I was told this from my best friend. A couple of months ago, we were in the mountains near Cortina where they did the Olympics, and I was working. It was 11 p.m. I was working. My friends were chilling, and one of our mutual friend told my best friend, I really hope he makes it because it's working right now. It's 11 p.m.
Mm,
We are
mm,
here. He's working.
mm,
So of
mm,
course, this also boosted me because maybe we don't.
mm, mm,
He didn't have. I don't know why he didn't tell me this in the face, but knowing that he thinks it truly, of course, warms my heart. You know.
mm. Yeah. Yeah. That's absolutely awesome. That's absolutely awesome. So, what time is it there where you are?
Oh, it's 8:10 p.m. Yeah, I think we
So
are
same
in the
time.
same
We're on the
time
same
zone.
time scale. We're on the same time scale. So what's the rest of your evening gonna look like now? Or
Well,
how does your day start and how does it finish?
I have right now. I think that I will smoke a cigarette and then go have dinner. Then
Hmm.
I have a focus work session to finish a website for my client, a new website, and then I'm
Hmm.
gonna catch up with the messages inside the real world. Go to sleep to wake up soon tomorrow. I prefer to wake up soon.
Good.
I didn't mention because it gives me a sort of idea of advantage over other people. You know, wake up at
Yeah.
5, work.
Yeah.
Everybody is already sleeping, still sleeping. So
Yeah.
kind of it's you have to
Gives you
protect your
a bit
mindset.
of a head start.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. And get into a routine as well.
exactly. Exactly. And sorry, I'm gonna add this because I think
Yeah.
it's important. At the beginning, you said, you know, well dressed and etc. One of the things that I learned is that it's super important to protect your mindset because you know you're going through some shit, and this is the thing that you have to keep up. So I
100.
learned that dressing well, as I like, you know, all money, classy, maybe mafia style, made me feel like a big CEO. We can say in
Mm.
that way, and that
Yeah,
had
100%.
me into the frame of I'm a big CEO. I mean, you know, wearing a suit, you know,
Mm. Mm.
hair. Always try to make him perfect, watch. So I try to put
Mm.
myself in the frame of I'm a CEO. I have to act like one and make money.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. 100%. You do you you are as good as you are as good as you feel, and that is inside and outside as well. Um, and I always say the same kind of things. Obviously, we look after our bodies and everything else, but obviously the clothes that we wear kind of represents us. So if you was to walk
Yeah,
into a room, you have to make the room. Who's that? Kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? So you're giving
yeah,
yourself an air of presence. Do you know what I mean? So when you
yeah,
walk into the room, you're like, yeah, okay, cool, I'm here. Everybody, I'm
yeah,
here. You don't even need to say anything. Everybody turns around and says,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
okay, cool. Who's this guy? And just walks into the room. Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of feeling. So that's absolutely perfect. That's absolutely perfect. Okay, well, I'm gonna leave you to go and smoke your cigarette and to get on with your calls
Okay,
and everything else. It was absolutely super nice talking to you. Um,
for me too, my
Wish you all
man.
the best. Love your drive, love your passion. Keep it up, keep going. Um, and yeah, I'm sure we'll come across and speak soon.
Okay, speak to you soon, man. Thank you a lot. Have a nice day.